Hi Leah!
So tell me, what's an Undiscovered Mountains multi-activity holiday?
So the idea of an Undiscovered Mountains multi-activity holiday is that it's supposed to feel for the client like an independent holiday, as if they've done all the research, found their accommodation, discovered all the activities they want to do, worked out all the transfer times and logistics and booked it all themselves, except of course that we do all of that legwork for them using our local knowledge and our trusted suppliers, so that they just have to turn up and enjoy.
Wonderful. And what type of groups do you see on this holiday?
So mainly families, I would say, families with teenagers, older children, mixed ages sometimes, couples and small groups of friends.
And what makes the Southern French Alps the perfect place for this holiday?
What makes the Southern French Alps the perfect place this holiday? Lots of things. So it's quite different to the Northern Alps. So the first main difference is the weather. So we're situated kind of in between Marseille and Grenoble. And we get the Mediterranean climate, except with a mountain tinge. So it's slightly cooler in the evening. Sometimes we get heat storms at the end of the day. That's quite nice because it keeps everything green and fresh. But it's still beautifully warm weather. It's sunbathing weather, it's hot weather. It's great for water sports, and it's also a lot more stable than the Northern French Alps. The other nice thing about the Southern French Alps is that it's got a real French authentic feel. It's not overrun by tourists. It's still quite undiscovered. British or English-speaking people are still a novelty, so you won't walk down the street and hear everyone speaking English. You'll walk down the street and hear everyone speaking French. And because of the topography of it, it's got a huge range of activities. So we've got everything from lake activities like sailing, windsurfing, tubing, kayaking, through to in the middle stuff like rafting on the rivers, canyoning, climbing via Ferrata, and high mountain adventures, mountaineering, walking on glaciers, staying in high mountain refuges. So there's a huge variety of activities, including things that people don't often think about for a summer multi-activity holiday, like fishing or wolf tracking or that kind of stuff.
And speaking of activities, how do people choose those activities?
So we have a system of activity points. So when people book the package, they get an accommodation and a set of activity points, which they can then use to choose from a huge range of activities, the activities that they want to do. So each activity has a different point value, and even variations of each activity have different point values. And once they've booked, they log in and they get to a client area where they can choose their activities, and that can be down to the individual. So it doesn't have to be all the family does rafting or all the family does canyoning or whatever. They can really split it up. So, one parent and child can go fishing, whilst another parent and child do horse riding, and then they can all go to a mountain hut all together. That's what's really great about the Southern French Alps, is the variety of activities that you can do here.
And is there an age limit for families with different ages?
Yeah, so every activity has an age limit, but it's a guideline, and it's there for us so that because some of them have kind of proper legal guidelines, but most of the activity age limits on our holidays, it's there to help us make sure that you're choosing the right holiday for your child. So, for example, if we take canyoning as the example, we've got a main canyon, which the age limit is 10, and then we've got a kiddie canyon, which is from age 7 till whatever age. And you might have a family, for example, with a 9-year-old, a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old. And then we would have a conversation, because obviously we're not going to throw a 9-year-old who's really scared of heights or doesn't like putting their head underwater down the main canyon, but they would have real fun in the kiddie canyon. So we would basically have a conversation with the parent to find out a little bit more about that child. Are they have they got experience of doing anything like that before? It doesn't have to be canyoning, but water sports or swimming. Are they comfortable in water? Are they comfortable with heights? And then if we feel, and the parent, and we'll obviously explain the activity in a bit more detail with that parent. If we feel that they can do that with the older children, then that is obviously great for the families to do it all together. But if not, then we might advise that they split, and half the family do the kiddie canyon and the other half do the main canyon, or all of them do the kiddie canyon. It just really depends on the family, but that's what we're there for. We know the activities, we know what sort of people enjoy them, what sort of people don't, and then we can advise based on that conversation that we have with the family once they've booked and they're starting to choose their activities.
So once they've booked, what happens?
So once they've booked, once they've chosen their activities, they can then relax and look forward to their holiday, and leave all the planning and the logistics and all the horrible stuff to us. So we basically put it all together. So we'll sit down and we'll, each week, we'll look, who's booked canyoning. Let's say we've got a family with older teenagers that have booked canyoning, and another family with older teenagers. We'll probably put them together to create a group. We have small groups, but we do try to pair families together with similar profiles so that they meet other children of the same age, and parents meet parents of the same age children, so they've got kind of a common point between them. And then we'll obviously taking into account everything else. So how far is it to drive from the accommodation? What else can they do on the way? Obviously the local limitations, so who's available, which location is going to be best for this family, when to put it in the week. If it's a really challenging activity and it's a family with younger children, we might put that towards the end of the week. For teenagers, we might try to do things more in the afternoon and in the morning because we know that they tend to lie in. Obviously there's limitations, we can't do everything, but we take into account all of the things that we know matter for a holiday to try to create the best itinerary that works logistically, that's progressive, that's fun, that has the right amount of downtime, the right amount of active time. And then it's not just about the activities. So once we've booked all the activities, that's the sort of framework, if you like, for the holiday. And then we'll look at all of the other things that you can see and do in the Southern French Alps. There's loads and loads of things to see and do. There's some fantastic markets, there's beautiful villages to visit, there's lakes to swim in, there's walks, there's concerts, there's all sorts of stuff going on in the summer. And we keep on top of all of that so that we can advise, so on the way back from rafting, there's a really good fireworks display. So why don't you stop here for pizza after rafting, and then wait for the fireworks, and then go back to your accommodation, for example. So we just basically integrate all of the other stuff to help people make the most out of the area. Once we've created their itinerary and got their activities, we put it all onto a smartphone app, and that's their tool for the holiday. So they'll open it up and it'll say, today they're going rafting and they need to be here at this time. Here's the instructor, here's what they need to wear, here's what they need to bring. And then they get there by navigating, because it's a self-drive holiday, because obviously every itinerary is completely unique to each family. And the navigation tool takes them there using their preferred navigation app like Google Maps or Waze or whatever they want to use. That's how it works, and that's their tool for the holiday. And it's really easy to use, it's really intuitive, but it's not just about that. So so they've got their app, so they've got their framework, if you like, for the holiday, but we'll also meet them in person. So we have a human meeting with them. It's not just about a digital app, and we'll go through everything around that framework. So you've got your organised activities, but there's all these other things to see and do. So we'll suggest, for example, if the family say, well, we really like swimming, or we really like walking, or we want to go visit some local markets, or we'd like to go to a concert, or whatever, we'll then use our local knowledge to help them fill out those blanks so that they can make the most of the area when they're here.
During the holiday, how flexible can plans be? Like, for example, let's say that the weather is bad.
As I said before, the weather here in the Southern French Alps is generally really stable and really good. We've been running these holidays for 20 years, and I can probably count on my hands how many activities we've actually fully cancelled on these holidays. So it's very rare that we really cancel an activity. What we try to do is rearrange it, and we anticipate. So before every holiday, we'll look at the weather forecast, and if there is a problem, like there's a rainy day, or there's too much wind for the paragliding, or anything like that, then we'll try to rearrange it for later in the week, or swap it with another activity. It's quite a logistical juggling act, because we've got lots of different families on the same activity, all doing different things, so it doesn't always work exactly as you want it to, but we'll do what we can to make it work within the framework and the boundaries that we have.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.